Okay, so about 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, we moved from this huge house that was actually around the corner from here and downsized to a smaller place. Um, didn't know how it would work out at first. I had some ideas that it would be better, but I didn't really know just how much better it was going to be. And actually, it's a lot better. So this place we came from was so big that I actually had three different offices. I had an office over the garage that I called the studio. I had an office on the main floor near the kitchen. It was like the study. And then I had another office, kind of like a lab, electronics lab and stuff down in the basement. And I had exercise room, separate exercise room with a big projector and equipment and everything in the basement. And it was just too much. It was too big, I mean, I would be in one office and the stuff I needed would be like in a different office and on the other side of the house, and it was just a mess. So in the place we're in now, I made sure that all of my stuff, except the stuff I do in the garage, everything is in one place all together, and it's in the basement. And this house is old. This is a 100-year-old house, but kind of modernized the basement. And we're gonna go down there now, so you can see kind of what my lair looks like, and I'll be careful so while I'm filming I don't drop anything or fall. But as you can see, going down to the basement, I've got a street sign here. I wish I had gotten it in green, but anyway, it says 6th Street. 6th Street is where I grew up in Flint, 813 East 6th Street. And my father had his workshop in the basement. And so, and this is about the same vintage house. So this whole thing reminded me of that. And so I decided to put the 6th Street sign above the entrance to the basement. And on the right here, you see the fallout shelter sign. This is what we grew up with back in the 60s. A lot of different buildings had designated fallout shelters. And so I found this sign on the internet, on eBay actually, a few years back, and decided to put that in here. This is not a real fallout shelter. We'd be in pretty bad shape if we got bombed. This is actually coming down to the basement. This is one of my favorite pictures from, I'm going to turn the camera. Well, no, I'm not. One of my favorite pictures that I bought actually when I was in college. And it's a print of a painting called Sunny Side of the Street. Artist's name is Philip Evergood. And I had this hanging in my apartment pretty much from my junior year on at Michigan, and maybe my senior year, I don't know. But I bought this print at Ulrich's bookstore way back when, and I've kept it ever since. Had it framed a little better lately. So that's coming down to the basement, coming down to the lair. I've got some exercise stuff here that I have yet to put up, some pads I can put on the wall for doing squats. Haven't done that yet. So this is what I call the gym, part of the basement. And so what we have here is my big exercise ball that I got it in Mackinac Island back in the 90s, and a smaller exercise ball, and then a medicine ball down there on the floor. Maybe you can see all that. Got an exercise mat, Got a Life Fitness bike that I brought over from the other house. Got rid of all the other equipment, but because it wouldn't fit down here, but I did get the bike, and I can watch TV, while I'm riding the bike, so that works out pretty good. And it's that's the gym. That's pretty much the gym. And if we look over here, we got some push-up things. We got Kishna's little yoga ball down there. I've got a step for doing some step exercises. That's pretty much, well, no, that's not all the gym. So if we go over here, you can see that we also have some weights, nothing too serious, and a stretch band, and some leg weights that I probably haven't worn since 1982, something like that. We got the TRX straps over here. So we got the TRX, and that painting there is something that I bought during my one of my car trips to California. I bought this in San Luis Obispo at a shop there. The owner said she bought it in Ghana, and I just thought it captured the whole haircut culture, even from Flint. And so now you see another street sign here. It says Avon Street. That's over the entrance to the laundry room, which is not part of my domain. At least it's not a place I go in a whole lot. But at any rate, our house was near the corner of 6th Street and Avon, so I put those two signs down here. I actually rescued those signs from an urban entrepreneurship initiative event we did a few years ago in Flint when we had the symposium in Flint. We made these signs up and didn't have use for them anymore, and they were about to go in the trash, so I scarfed them up. As far as recreation, I used to have a separate pool room with a pool table, at the other house, but the only thing that survived is a little magnetic dartboard. But I use this a lot more than we ended up using the pool room. I think I played pool maybe 10 times the whole time I had it. Now over here in the gym, I had these albums ever since we were in New Jersey. These are the what I considered the 10 albums that had the greatest influence on my life during my formative years. And so it starts with the Crusaders, and they were really big with me. I'm not gonna go over all these. Switched on Bach by Juan Carlos, now Wendy Carlos. Songs in the Key of Life, of course, Stevie Wonder, Bob Marley, Natty Dread, The Wiz soundtrack, The Spinners, Mighty Love. I guess I am going through all of them. The Persuasions, Street Corner Symphony, Buffalo Soldier, like that. And then we got, of course, Isaac Hayes, Black Moses. And then, oh my goodness, Chicago and Chicago Transit Authority album, seminal album. And then, of course, Temptations with a lot of soul. And so those were the big 10 for me. So this is all in the gym as well. I have a little robot here that Nadia and I have been working on. I'll say a little more about the electronics projects later. But we call that Robot J, and we got a lot of work to do yet. Let's see, what else do we have over here in the gym? We got a little postage meter. We have a radio that I made, I think in 8th grade. I made that radio. We've got the drone, DJI drone, Digi-drone, with the controller and a little iPad for controlling the drone. And so as you can see, this is a small little area here, but we got a lot of stuff in here. Now over here, we have another print that I bought when I was in college, and this was a print of a painting that was commissioned for the 1972 Munich Olympics. You see at the bottom it says Olympische Spiele München, 1972, and it was a really weird kind of a painting, but it appealed to me, and I bought it. Again, had it since my junior or senior year in college. Let's see, 72, yep, I think I bought it in 73. I was in my junior year, and kept it all this time. And again, I don't even think that's been, yeah, that was reframed a few years ago, just to jazz it up a little bit. So let's see, there's the bike. And so now we are exiting. And by the way, one of the things we do in the gym here, I have the Wii set up, and so there are Wii controllers there. Nadia and I sometimes play Wii tennis. That's a little good exercise in the wintertime. It's fun. I still like the Wii. And then this is a poster from 2005. I played the eponymous role in The Wiz in Red Bank, New Jersey. I was kind of like a gangster Wiz, but it was my favorite play, my favorite musical ever on Broadway, and I jumped at the chance to play the part in a local production back in 2005, and they made a big poster, put at the theater, and there I am in my gangster outfit, Gangster Wiz. Okay, I gotta find a place to put this thing. Is so freaking big, and it was hanging in the pool room at the other place. Now we're 3 years hence. I still haven't found a place to put it because this place is smaller, just don't have a lot of room. So now we're going over into the lab. So again, so the exercise room was a whole room unto itself at the other place. The lab was a whole room unto itself at the other place. But now this is all right here in the same area. And so here in the lab, on this table, I do work on the PCs. So I build my own PCs, you know, my desktop PCs. Been doing that for the last few years. Just gives me something to do. And I know everything that's in there, and you know, it's kind of fun. I'm getting ready to do another one. I call them, should I say what I call them? I call them the BMF. You can guess what BMF stand for. So I had BMF 1, now I'm using BMF 2. I'm getting ready to build BMF 3. As technology moves, every few years I got to build a new bad MF PC. And so this is a smaller one that I built, just a black case, nondescript PC, and I'm using that for some controller projects over here. So that's this table. So that's kind of again, that's the PC work table. That's what it's going to be. I also have a lot of pictures that I took, you know, before the digital age, and I'm in the process of digitizing those. Been digitizing them for a while, but I got to get that done. So that's what we're looking at here in these cartons. Just a lot of pictures that are ripe for digitization. And then, so this is the electronics table here. And of course, as you know, I'm an electrical engineer, and sometimes I have to do a little project. Man, I bought this test equipment, voltage generator and a signal generator and an oscilloscope a year or two ago, bought new ones, and it's amazing how cheap this stuff is now compared to what we used to pay for this stuff when I started my business. But of course, the state of the art now is a lot higher than these things. So if you're buying state of the art stuff, it probably costs as much or more than what we paid way back when. So this is the kind of electronics project table, and I have a stereo here also. I don't know why I got so many stereos. I got overkill stereo down here, and I have my old iPod here with the whole music collection. This is still when the iPod was on a hard disk, actual physical disk drive. And okay, so that's the electronics room, electronics table. Now over here, I was taking some piano lessons a few years ago, and I set up a workstation here for doing electronic music and trying to learn to play the keyboard and stuff. I just haven't had any success with the keyboard. And the guy who was teaching me keyboard, outstanding jazz musician, Al McKenzie, was teaching me and teaching Nadia to play the keyboard, and he tragically passed away last year. And so I've done next to nothing keyboard-wise since then. I do want to come back over here to the corner and show you another poster that I've had since college, and this is Martin Luther King in the, I don't know if that's the Birmingham jail. I think it was the Birmingham jail. And he's saying, this is his drum major speech that's quoted at the bottom. Say that I was a drum major, say I was a drum major for justice, say that I was a drum major for peace, say that I was a drum major for righteousness. And I found this print inspiring throughout my time in college and throughout my career, and I've saved this poster all this time. Again, going on 50 years old. That's crazy. Hard to believe. Okay, so now I'll just turn around and I'll show you. This is my little reading area down here, and this is the famous chair designed by Eero Saarinen, the womb chair. And I bought this chair after we moved out here to Michigan from New Jersey. It was at the old house. But Eero Saarinen is the guy who designed the building that I worked in at Bell Labs way back when in New Jersey. Bell Labs, Holmdel, New Jersey. And ironically, when I moved back here to Michigan, I learned that he grew up about a mile from here, and his father was the headmaster at Cranbrook Academy, which is right near here. And so it just seemed to tie everything together that I would have this chair that he designed. I worked in the building that he designed, and I live now about a mile from where he grew up. And up above the chair, there's a caricature that was done of me. Oh boy, again, back in the 70s. This is when I was a student at General Motors Institute. So this caricature was probably done in 1971. It's a hat I actually used to wear around, cover my fro, and it's pretty crazy. But anyway, I've kept that caricature all these years. So now we are coming into the what I call the office area of the basement here. And so this table is actually where I spend most of my time when I'm down here. It's got the BMF PC that I built, a black box on the floor over there, big monitor, keyboard, another set of speakers up here. So that's what I'm listening to when I'm sitting down here, when I'm working. Music from being generated from the PC or from the stereo system over there. I never did anything with my diplomas all these years until we moved into this house. I finally had them framed and I put them down here. That's my little ego wall. Never had one before. So this is the desk, and this is my stuff, you know, microphone and everything. And up above, we have the speakers. We've got a little camera there. We've got the Ready Kilowatt from Consumers Power back in the 60s. That was a advertising thing. It's a picture of me and my mom, my heart. That's a couple of cloisonne ducks that I bought for her in China in 1986. Of course, Mom passed away in 2014. That's my first desk sign from when I went to work at Bell Labs in New Jersey. Used to be part of the Bell system, and so that's the Bell there. And then there's my video light that I use when I'm doing a video conference or something to light my face while I'm sitting there at the desk. So that's the office desk setup. And if we come over here, we can see a little bit closer look of the PC. That's the big PC, getting ready to be replaced in a few months as I build the new one. And then this is the audio rack here with my receiver. I used to use the amplifier that I had in college, Sansui amplifier, but it finally gave up the ghost last year, so I just threw it out. I didn't feel like being bothered with it anymore. I've got a tape player, you know, the old cassette tapes. I've got a mini disc player there, and UPS backup battery down at the bottom there for everything, so that everything doesn't crap out if we have a brief power outage. Okay, so that's the office area. Now this is still part of the office area, but this area here is where I'm doing the picture digitization. So I'm just using this as a digitization area, and I've got a rapid digitizer on the left there from Epson, and I've got a Epson scanner, flatbed scanner also, and my old MacBook Pro from 2011, 2012 that I'm using to just specifically to control that process. A little black and white printer there. Up above we got some knickknacks. Here's a picture of my dad from his army days. Picture of Nadia with our dog when she was real small, maybe 1 year old. Picture of me and Mabes and Kishna from New Jersey. Just some knickknacks. Jack Daniels whiskey sign. My Uncle Bill, Jack Daniels was his favorite. And then we got an old brochure here on the wall from TAS, from when we first got started. That was our first real brochure that we produced. And then there's a little bookshelf here, and has some of the books that I regularly might refer to down here, and then some more knickknacks. the slide rule that my father gave me when I was in high school. That's the slide rule that I used when I was a student at GMI, and until the calculators came out, people started using those. And a few pictures from when I used to run in the Crim race. Used to do that every year. I started in like 1987 running the Crim race and stopped in around 93. But again, just some memorable pictures. So now we're going to go into the last little piece here. This is really just the utility room where the furnace is, but it's also where the network control center for the house is. And not a whole lot to see there. Everything's behind the smoke glass, but that's where all the network stuff is. And that's the old steam boiler furnace that we have in here. So now you see what we got going here. And as you can see, everything is in one tight area. I'll just pan around so you can see. And so as I say, it was a very different situation at the old house. The old house was new when we moved in, and it was huge, and all of this stuff, each of these things was in a different area of the house, and made it very tough to use everything. But now I find that I'm using stuff a lot more. It's easier to get around. Oh, there's one area I forgot to show, and this is the dungeon down here. So the dungeon is basically just a storeroom, and so we have a lot of the electronics stuff that I'm not using right now. I keep in here, and also some old papers and things, and also a wine rack where the wine cellar is. I actually have somebody gave me my daughter. I think my daughter gave me this Lego Porsche GT3 car. And I'm gonna put that together, I think now, during the COVID time. And so it's just, storage of stuff. So that's the dungeon piece that I didn't show before. So as you can see, everything down here is pretty much in the same area. I can pretty much turn around and put my hands on everything. And so now you've seen the tour of the lair. And I hope you found that at least a little bit interesting. So I hope you enjoyed that little exploration of my lair. It's where I get stuff done, and as I said before, I hope you found it at least a little bit interesting. Thanks for coming on this little journey with me.